Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin here. My new business card. What's important is that one address. SkyMirrorAstrology.com/TV. Now, if you just go after SkyMirrorAstrology.com, you get the website where you get the app. But you got to put the /TV on there. You get my website that has the Honu, the turtle, looking up at the planets. My Amakua, the only animal that checks the sky all the time, just like I do. Where's the moon? That's Honu. Anyway, you get the show here. Last 5 or 6 shows. SkyMirrorAstrology.com/TV. Okay. So I checked the chart on my app. Jupiter's on the top. Next thing I want to do. See, the problem for me is I'm back here on Friday the 23rd of September. I'm still locked into that terrible eclipse stuff, which hasn't been easy for me. That opposed my moon. Neptune opposed my moon and stuff, and my moon's in the 4th at 10 Virgo. Son of a gun, fire under the refrigerator, it's gone. I got to tear it all out. The kitchen kind of died. I got a new refrigerator coming. Wow, eclipse. Okay, so here I am. I'm back here on the 23rd of September. Friday's good, Ancient Aliens. Oh boy! And as of the 1st of October, there'll be that nice new moon. And it's actually Friday night the 30th that kind of get me out of some of this dreadful Neptune-Saturn eclipse stuff. Eclipse has one more chance at us. You've already seen it on Wednesday the 28th of September. Where are you at? I underline that. See, because if you're watching show 1036 Thursday night, that's where I read the blue line. That's where you are. I'm back here trying to talk to you up there. I wish I was up there with you guys. It's a lot more mellow. Anyway, we're going to do show 1036. And it's a pretty eventful time. Pretty eventful. There's a full moon coming up. The full moon is on the planet Uranus. Yeah. So we have the sun opposing, electrical vibes. Oh boy! Opposing the planet of Uranus, which has to do with electricity and internet and all that kind of stuff. It's unusual for a full moon to be on Uranus. What's going to happen is Uranus is going to become a little lunatic-like, which could be electricity, could be your internet, could be one thing that comes up often is solar flares, which mess around with the computers, and this could be all manner of high-tech stuff, from airplanes to your the hackers went in on Yahoo the other day. I mean, there could be a lot more of this, and there's a feeling of homeless people being lunatics and over emotional, and they're going to be on the stage, homeless folks, and people in wheelchairs and people that don't have every day go to work and be tough kind of bodies for various reasons. I love Uranus. I was the safety training guy for Handyvan in Honolulu, and I rode the buses with the people in wheelchairs and people that had the shakes and people that had all kinds of reasons you can't ride the regular bus. Those were Uranus people, unusual, different. Many geniuses were there, and a little bit scary at first when Uranus, comes up on you. It's like the suddenness. It's a bell, bing. It's a sound. Whoop. So how the TV goes out, bang. It's so sudden, and then bang, it comes back on. So a lot of people are going to see that sort of stuff. We're going to have kind of a month of it after this full moon on the 15th of October. So that's the big news. Still got your Saturn-Neptune square, but at least it's not set off so much from that eclipse. Ooh, where the action is up on Pluto and Mars. You see, I got Pluto drawn kind of large. He's still pretty active. You know, he just stopped on the 26th of September. So, you know, you're sitting there on the 6th. That's only 10 days ago. Pluto stationed and stopped. Police, guns, eek. I mean, we just had Charlotte, North Carolina go off just the other night. Whenever these big squares hit, you know, woo. So there's a bunch of them going on. That's the upshot. Let's take a look at it day by day and we can learn something. We're going to run the moon around the edge here of this planetary pattern. And we're still working on the old moon. The old moon at 23 Virgo said, oh, boo, we don't care about Uranus. Throw those homeless guys out, or the people in wheelchairs, or all of the people who shake and who are unusual and different. And, you know, that's Hitler talk, yeah. If they're not, there's the rowdy gypsies, you know, put them in camps. Those Jews, oh, they won't get in line. So there's all kinds of people you can be prejudiced against, and that's what was going on right up and still going on up until this next full moon on Uranus, when all the folks are going to stand up and say, what the hell? You know, we're people too. It isn't just black people. It's everybody that's a little bit different in some way. Yes. So it's going to be a very interesting electric time after that full moon. But for now, you're still stuck with the last new moon that made seesaws to the Uranus and said, get rid of them. Hide the homeless. Hide your weird computer trips. Anyway, so it's going to change suddenly. Let's see, if you're on the Thursday night show, Wednesday night you had a dose of Saturn and Neptune and confusion, and nobody liked authority and drama. Yeah, it happens on Wednesdays. And Friday, the moon's still in Sag when you wake up, Friday the 7th of October. But there's a square to Mercury, and there's, you know, in the middle of the day, and you can't talk, and it's trouble getting around. The kids are noisy. It just gets worse as you go into Friday. The deeper you go, the more Martian things get, the more stressful they get. And, you know, you don't want to have any major plans for Friday. Look at that, I'm shaking the thing inadvertently. That's Uranus, huh? Anyway, here's can't communicate Friday in the middle of the day. And it starts to get angry, upsetting, you know, in the late Friday night and through early Saturday morning. And there's also a square to the sun. Dad can't help. People feel helpless. And there's a big problem with the Pluto, the Policia. The sun is squaring Pluto. And the moon's going to set it off here Saturday afternoon. And so this whole gun thing is kind of out of hand, you know. What is it, movies and TV and, you know, this policing thing. You watch the old movies, you know, the Keystone Cops had a little billy club. That's what they do in Muslim countries. They don't go around carrying. You don't need to put all those policemen in white shirts and take away their side pistols and let them keep their tasers and their pepper sprays and keep the gun in the trunk of the car, and everybody will know an officer with a white shirt isn't going to shoot and kill you, and they won't shoot them and kill them. And the officers can walk around safely with white shirts instead of black shirts and militarized equipment, which brings up, you know what that reminds you of? Hell's Angels and black motorcycles and tattoos. And, you know, I grew up in Oakland. The police, oh boy, they were romantic Plutonians. That's kind of scary. And eek, a bug. So, you know, the white uniform really does wonders. And if you take the sidearm off, he's not scared that somebody's going to grab it and kill him, and he's not overtrained with it. Train him to use the pepper spray. Train him to run. Train him to wrestle. So there's a whole bunch of issues going on and a whole bunch of anger going on here, yeah? If I had to guess, see, there's one good aspect, that's to Neptune. And that comes in between the anger and the frustration. Anger's in the morning and Friday night and Saturday morning, and then frustration creeps in as a square to the sun to Saturday. But in the middle, here's a sextile to Neptune. Let's hope that's the church or a pretty bird or something, and not alcohol, which would just fuel the fire and make for more difficulties and violence. which really the peak of it is when the moon goes by Pluto, which is right here Saturday morning. So you may wake up with sirens or bugs. Eek! Sense of panic. Saturday morning would be normal. Okay? It's normal. And a little music, maybe even a glass of wine Saturday afternoon and evening could help. And don't make plans and try to be ambitious and forget all that stuff, and you might get through Saturday without real injury. But there's a potential for injury here Friday night, and fights and fires and stuff. Mars is a difficult guy. He gets right up on Pluto. See, he's going from 8 to 14, and Pluto's here at 15. So in 10 days from you, Mars will be right on Pluto. Whoa, that's a time when people can't control anger or they overdo it. So, you got the picture. It's a lousy Friday. It morphs into a really terrible Saturday. And the less you do, the better off you are, frankly. And you might get a break if you're calm after Saturday night late and go into Sunday. But look, here's the square to Uranus. You know, how's your electrical system? You feel a little alone? That's okay. It's normal. The moon finally leaves Capricorn after dinner on Sunday the 9th. And all this stuff settles down. It's all here in the cardinal sign of Capricorn. Cardinal Earth. That's the boss, the manager. Goes into Aquarius. Sunday night you'll feel more independent, more brotherhood will click in. The rules, the regulations, you're not feeling so claustrophobic and limited. And it gets positively exuberant Monday morning. Here's Jupiter and Mercury together early in the morning. Wisdom comes out. People are communicating it. The kids are singing a song. Listen to them. Moon trining Jupiter starts early Monday. So if you're going to work on October 10th, you go with a smile, because it's going to be that kind of day. And all the plans that you're making have so much wisdom. Talk them over. And here's a sextile to Saturn. After dinner Monday the 10th, solidify something. There's good judgment going on Monday. Reality. Yes. Moon in Aquarius. Your ambitions get fulfilled a little bit here Tuesday morning. The moon in Aquarius trines the sun in Libra. Not too bad. Technical things are going well. The moon sextiles Uranus in the middle of the day. But here's a square to Venus. The girls aren't happy. Your blood sugar's low. Don't eat a bunch of sugary stuff for breakfast or lunch here on Tuesday the 11th, or you're probably going to be sorry, because Venus is weakening you. The moon stays in Aquarius until Wednesday morning. And once that happens, goes into Pisces, a mutable water sign. You're not so intellectual. And it starts to get more and more confusing about water. Water's a big thing, and the pollution of the water. And well, I don't get me wound up about the lead. And here's Saturn squaring Neptune. Lead is Saturn. Neptune is water. Any lead at all in the water given to somebody whose brain case isn't fully formed goes past the blood-brain barrier, ties the brain up in little knots. There's a loss of IQ. There's no lower limit. You can't say, 5 ppm is okay and 10 isn't. No. Any lead at all. Give it to an adult, you could have a bad dream, but it's not going to hurt your brain. It's the kids. So, America has been dumbed down by the lead, not just in water, but in the gasoline and in the paint. And part of the human herd in America is a little slow because of this. Learn from your history. There's other things going on too. By the time you get to late Wednesday night, the moon goes by the south node. Early Thursday morning, feels like we all need help. Yeah. There is some policing and some invention shows up. This just before breakfast, around breakfast time on Thursday the 13th. After the moon goes by the south node, we all need help. Wait a minute, there's a sextile to Pluto. That's what policemen are supposed to do, huh? Get yourself a real policeman. They'll help you. Thursday mellows out and becomes actually kind of sweet after lunch, around dinner time. The moon hits a nice trine to Venus. Pisces. Venus is in Scorpio, kind of sexy and watery. Not bad at all. Thursday is a mellow day. And you wake up Friday morning, what's that? Moon has gone into Aries. It's a cardinal fire sign. Things heat up fast. It's going to be one of those weekends again. And here, around dinner time, there's an opposition to Jupiter. You're not going to listen to wise men. And here early in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning, Saturday, here's a trine to Saturn. We need law and order here. Okay, tell it to Pluto and Mars and Mercury, because people are ticked off. And they don't like policemen being aggressive. And policemen are very aggressive and scared, and there's fights, and there's fires, and there's power outages. And things could get really a little nutty here, because Saturday night is when that full moon is. If you have a solar flare, everybody's blood gets thick and you have riots, even if you have high solar wind. You go watch 2-minute news. So, when you see auroras, oh, they're pretty, yeah, well, you'll see people are ticked off and riots, and your blood gets thick, and everybody has health effects. And anyway, here it is, anger. You get really tired, you pump yourself up. Pump the adrenals up, get angry, oh yeah. So, it's not a very happy Saturday. Road rage all over the joint, all morning long, finally leading to a feeling I'm all alone, I'll have to do it myself, and over-emotional suddenly, and issues about what we should share, and about power, and about global warming, and how we get our power, and, your electrical stuff. So, this time, if you want to use this full moon on Uranus in a good way, figure out how to make yourself more independent from the electrical grid. That's really worth doing. Use that Uranus energy. I want to be free. Okay, free yourself. I got so into that full moon on Uranus. Well, it's not something you see every day, huh? And I got a lot of things marked out here. Quakes, power outages, hackers, independence, run amok. I have a story from Handy Van, a lovely story. I'm going to give it to you quick. Lady's taking these kids into a special school. One school is for real bright kids. The other one is for kids that are a little slow, and there was a lot of Down syndrome kids. So one side of the bus was all for the slow, kids on the other side of the bus was the super IQ guys. And they used to fight a lot, And the lady was older who's driver and driving the regular thing every morning, got really tired and fed up of the whole thing. And, these kids fighting. There's one little kid opened his sandwich on the bus and started eating it, a smart kid. And a nice, sweet Down syndrome girl said, "You're not supposed to eat on the bus." And it started almost a physical fight. So anyway, this bus driver lady, she decided to get herself a police whistle. And she got this police whistle, and whenever they started to make too much noise, she'd blow this whistle and pull the van over, scare the hell out of the kids. Whoop, there's Uranus. Now listen, this is amazing. What happened is, the next morning, she goes and picks these kids up, and the first time there's a little noise, she blows on her whistle. Every kid in that bus had a whistle. The smart ones and the so-called slow ones, they all had a police whistle. They all blew it at once. The whole van, everybody blew their whistle right back at her. Needless to say, that was tough. She got out of that van real quick, called me up. "I can't go back in there. Get a substitute. I'm not going to drive those kids again." That's it for her. Anyway, how did they get organized like that? I remember the Handy Van owner used to kind of quake in fear when the wheelchair people, see how this looks like a wheelchair? When they get organized, uh-oh, look out. So anyway, these are strikes, too. When all the workers decide, we got enough people here, we're going on strike and shut this baby down. You can't get into the airport. Okay, here what happens Sunday the 16th. The moon goes into Taurus, starts to mellow out. There's some music, glass of wine after dinner here late when the moon sextiles Neptune. And then early Monday morning, there's a trine to Mars and Pluto, and you feel like we need heroes. We need people that can go do mass killings and how much Mars and Pluto do you accept in your world, huh? What kind of world you live in? What kind of world your kids gonna live in? Okay, I got to talk about Pluto. I put it off the last couple shows. This maybe you might still be sensitive. This is to all the people in all the Hawaiian Islands. First of all, they're hiding the suicides. There's two things that are killing you. Two big things that are very Pluto-like. They're invisible. First is a virus which causes PTSD. Somebody who's got it has to cough, spit right in your eye. Then you're in for 3, 6, 9 months of horrible claustrophobia and bad visions. But then it leaves, okay? Anybody gets it, it leaves. But the carbon monoxide doesn't. It comes up in your car from your exhaust or a motorcycle. Motorcycles go off the road, lose control, they say, cross the center line, head-on collision. Everybody dies. Very high death rate. Very, very high death rate on Big Island highways especially. In all of the Hawaiian areas, the police don't seem to want to get it. All they got to do is test for carbon monoxide in the blood of these people that die. Carboxyl hemoglobin ratio, it's called. It's about $20. But they don't do it. Just like the virus, your public health people have failed you totally. They don't know it's a virus. Of course, the public health medical systems have already failed you. I was looking at this stuff on the water problems because that eclipse opposed Neptune, yeah? And what comes up is the lead. And now there's a new one, chromium-6. Holy shit, hexavalent chromium I dealt with in my career in OSHA. And at the refineries, you know, guys got it in their nose, you get nose cancer. Hexavalent chromium 6, number 6 chromium, is a really nasty chemical. Of course, so is lead. Now, I don't know what this other one is here. Perfluoro. Fluoro is the disastrous name you want to. Anything that's got chloro, fluoro, or bromo, those are the grabby molecules. This is a fluorine molecule, and it's got something else on it here on the end. Fluoro. It doesn't matter, you won't remember. They just call it PFOA, and it's an acid, and it's in every place, all in the city systems. Lead. Erin Brockovich came out and said, "This just stinks. How can this happen here?" And she said, "Look, we're about to go into a crisis period over this when people find out what's going on." That was a movie. Yeah? Erin Brockovich was talking about pollution of your water. And she said, like this thing with lead, it's just not Flint, Michigan. I mean, this is all over. You know, and it's lousy standards the feds put out for their so-called regulatory agencies, and nobody takes care of it, nobody looks into it. She said it's due to corruption, complacency, and utter incompetence. It's easy to take a lead test. You can do it at home. But our public servants, you know, can't seem to do that, huh? Whoa. Okay, astrocartography. It's hitting Hawaii, see? Mostly because the moon, Uranus at 22-23, squaring the midheaven. Now this is Hilo. And here's Kona. It looks like it's pretty strong here, 2303. And Honolulu even. So these, you know, this is the moon, Uranus in the 12th. Here's a utility company. Something's gone awry. And we're all upset. World map, 4 spots. One of them is over here. It runs down through this coast of Chile a bit. Quakey. Here's the Hawaii hit, Uranus. Over here is a serious one. This guy is going through some heavily populated areas. And you could have typhoons, could have earthquakes. The crust goes by there. And there's another spot over here in Africa that, you remember we had the eclipse here. Let me set that up for you. Okay, here's the Uranus. This is on the descendant, Moon Uranus. Crazy people getting chased all around. Runs right through the middle there, huh? Okay, there's where the eclipse is total. We got Pluto and Mars running up through here. Extreme heat. And we got the Moon Uranus refugees running through there. Twisters, high winds, chaos. And this is not a good thing. This is Uranus on the descendant. Poor people. So there's a big trouble spot in Africa. Now this area in Asia. Old note, I've done all this work before. Here in my ephemeris, I made a little note. Manila dash to Beijing. And, you know, this is a really tough one. And where these lines cross, Pluto and Mars crossing where the Sun Uranus is. This is emergency stuff. And, Of course, this is a hot spot. Here's the earthquake thing. The crust runs through here. And you can trap water in here for tsunamis. Here's Pluto and Mars going. Hong Kong is on high alert. Pluto and Mars rising. Could be heat. More heat you get, the more crustal plates move. Uranus is shaking. Of course, this could be typhoon. Still this time of year, huh? Could it be? Let's see, that Sun, Moon, Uranus line runs right through here. This is Uranus on the icy, high winds at home, chaos in the home, power outages in the home. It's over here on this coastline. I don't know what that means. Remember, any place Uranus makes a fuss, he also brings in brotherhood. Vietnam was stopped by the brothers on the USS Hornet. The First World War was stopped by all the German guys on that battleship. Not by politicians, by people communicating. That's like what's happening in the US now. People on the social media communicating. Haley on, brother. Gandhi said, a nation's moral progress can be judged by the way it treats its animals and those folks in wheelchairs and stuff. Help them out.